Mike Mansholt's body, found without organs, weighing only 16 kilograms. Malta, the island nation in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, is known for its vibrant festivals, ancient cities, and breathtaking landscapes. However, it is also infamous as one of the most terrifying places in the world, a hotspot for notorious criminal gangs, mysterious deaths, and tragic unexplained crimes that haunt its residents. One such case occurred in July 2016, when a body was discovered with all internal organs missing, including the brain. The dismembered remains weighed only 16 kilograms, sending shockwaves through the people of Malta. The victim was a 17-year-old German tourist named Mike Mansholt, a trip that turned into a nightmare. On July 22, 2016, Mike Mansholt was supposed to return home to Germany after his trip to Malta. His mother, Susan, eagerly awaited his arrival at Bremen Airport, unaware that her son would never board any return flight. As hours passed without any sign of Mike, Susan grew increasingly anxious. Initially, she assumed he had changed his flight schedule. However, as time went on and there was still no word from him, her motherly instincts told her something was terribly wrong. She called Mike's phone, but it was turned off. Alarmed, she immediately contacted his father, Bernd Mansholt, to inform him of the situation. That night, the entire Mansholt family tried to contact Mike's friends in Malta, but their efforts were in vain. The next morning, on July 23, 2016, they reported him missing to the German Federal Police, who then reached out to Maltese authorities for assistance in the search. Upon receiving the request, the Maltese police launched an extensive search operation, focusing on locations Mike had visited. His father, Bernd, and his older brother, Daniel, flew to Malta to monitor the search efforts. Who was Mike Mansholt? Mike was born into a family of avid travelers, which fueled his passion for exploring new places. After finishing school and securing his first job, he wanted to fund his own travels without relying on his parents. In early July 2016, he booked a trip to Malta, not only to fulfill his dream of traveling, but also to reunite with his girlfriend who was studying there. The plan was for both of them to return to Germany together for a short vacation. Mike arrived in Malta on July 8, 2016, and stayed at a small hotel on the eastern side of the island. He spent about a week exploring the island with his girlfriend. Everything seemed normal, until he made a fateful decision that led to his tragic demise. A deadly mistake. On July 17, 2016, Mike's girlfriend returned to Germany as planned. However, Mike, enchanted by Malta, decided to extend his stay. He told his girlfriend he wanted to experience solo travel, and she agreed. Passionate about archaeology, Mike was particularly excited to explore the ancient catacombs in Rabat. On the morning of July 18, 2016, he left his hotel at 10 a.m. to visit the underground necropolis, known as the Kingdom of the Dead. To aid his exploration, he rented a mountain bike equipped with a camera. However, when the bike rental period expired, the shop owner noticed that Mike had not returned it. Growing concerned, the owner reported the situation to the police. At first, Maltese authorities dismissed it as a case of a distracted tourist losing track of time. However, the situation took a darker turn when German police reported that all attempts to contact Mike had gone unanswered. The shocking discovery. On July 26, 2016, 8 days after Mike's disappearance, an anonymous tip led police to a body at Dingley Cliffs, the highest cliffs on the island and a popular tourist spot. When officers arrived, they confirmed the remains belonged to Mike Mansholt. His father, Bernd, and his brother Daniel were at the scene and collapsed in grief at the sight of Mike's dismembered body, scattered in pieces. Strangely, none of Mike's personal belongings, his backpack, wallet, phone, or credit cards, were found at the site. Upon conducting an autopsy, Maltese authorities concluded that Mike's death was an accident. They suggested he fell off the cliffs while riding his bike. Initially, this seemed plausible, until disturbing details emerged. Missing recording equipment. Mike was passionate about photography and videography, always carrying his camera to document his travels. Yet, no recording devices were found at the scene. No broken bones. A morgue employee revealed to Mike's father that there were no fractures in Mike's body. This contradicted the official explanation that he had died from a high fall. Despite these inconsistencies, Maltese authorities stood by their conclusion that Mike's death was accidental. Desperate for answers, Bernd visited Dingley Cliffs to ask local residents if they had seen anything suspicious. Strangely, many appeared to know something but remained silent, deepening his suspicions. He became convinced that the police were covering up the truth. A shocking revelation. On August 17, 2016, Bernd and Daniel returned to Germany with Mike's body. They arranged for a funeral, unaware that another devastating discovery awaited them. The funeral home director was perplexed by how light Mike's body was. Weighing just 16 kilograms, it was unusually light for a young man his age. With permission from Mike's family, the funeral home conducted a closer examination. The results were horrifying. Nearly all of Mike's internal organs, his heart, lungs, kidneys, intestines, and even his brain, were missing. Where did Mike's organs go? Bernd demanded that Maltese authorities return his son's organs. However, officials claimed the organs were already missing before the autopsy, suggesting they had been eaten by scavengers or dissolved under the sun. The case soon attracted international attention, and German prosecutors launched an investigation. However, without concrete evidence, they could only speculate on possible causes of death. A fatal accident, a traffic incident, a homicide linked to organ trafficking. The most widely accepted theory is that Mike fell victim to organ traffickers who abducted him, harvested his organs, and then dumped his body off Dingley Cliffs. A case without closure. On September 4, 2016, Mike's family held his funeral, even though the exact cause of his death remained a mystery. His ashes were scattered into the sea, allowing the adventurous young traveler to roam free once more. To this day, the truth behind Mike Mansholt's missing organs and tragic death remains unsolved. What do you think about this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below.